I know I remember I think this must have been 6 months ago. I was on a date with a girl. She was in her 30s. She's probably, I didn't ask her body count, but let's just, probably 10, 20, 30 plus, whatever. She had told me, we were talking about past relationships. She said that the last guy she dated, she'd been dating him for 1 or 2 years. She was like, oh yeah, actually the way we met is I was staying at his Airbnb, and then like I check in, and then like literally the night I move in, like we fucked. I'm like, okay, cool. And then like, I was, it was whatever. We were on a date, and she was into me, and then like we were hanging out, but she was like, "Oh no, I think I kind of want to like wait."
I think a lot of women.
And like, bro, it's like, look, that's your call, but like, this your last relationship that was a long-term relationship, so it wasn't evidence of like, oh, it's just a one-night stand. And it's like, I'm gonna look at that, I'm gonna be like, I actually no longer want a relationship with a girl. Like I now, because you're playing a game, because it's not your genuine standard. It's just like I either think one of two things. I think like you're playing a game with me. You're using sex as leverage to secure
a relationship.
No, right. Resources, not even a relationship, just attention and resources.
Yeah. Relationship, and then you're using it as leverage, or I honestly, the thing that strikes me is you're just not that into me, because like, I want that, this is Rolo's thing, genuine burning desire. Shout out Rolo Tomasi by the Rational Male. Like, if all your previous relationships, like you had this one standard, if all your previous relationships, your standard was, okay, I'm gonna wait 4 dates. That's fair. I get that. But you just fucked a guy 2 weeks ago, and now you want me to wait 2 months? Like, get the fuck out. Like, again, it's your call, but I'm like, I'm like, okay, she's either not into me, or she's like basically playing a game. So then at that point, I've just lost interest.
What game do you think she's playing? Just curious.
She's using sex as leverage.
A lot of,
and like, I don't, because it's not a genuine standard of hers, because if 2 months ago you fucked a guy immediately, then it's not a genuine standard you have when it comes to your sexuality.
It's just for you. Would you think differently if like she had like lived one way in her past, but like had it created a new standard for herself, like going forward?
That's not what's going on in the situation, though.
But that's not what's going on. Like if like for the past 5 years, like that's been her new standard. She had some fucking wild times in college. Even then, that's not ideal. Because as me and Mike were saying, and a couple other people were saying, like obviously body count matters, but strictly from a behavioral sense, not great. But it's more understandable if like she's changed. But
right.
Hey guys, by the way, everything we're saying, it comes down to, do you find someone who accepts those things? You're right. If you say, if a guy doesn't care that I had multiple bodies, that's fine. I'm just telling you, most high status men are not going to behave that way. They're not. It's just a function of statistics. That's it. You were saying something?
Oh, I think if I'm understanding correctly, it's less that you're saying that it's, you're not judging somebody for, sleeping with someone like on the first date or fourth date or whatever. It's just like, from man's standpoint, does it make sense?
Well, it's the fact that you're holding the standard to just him and not everybody else that you've had these.
Yeah, you had an epiphany, and now you've gotten right with God, and now you go to your yoga class, and your third chakra is open, and now you've decided you make men wait when all the other men didn't. That's fine if you believe that. I'm just not going to sit around and wait for that. That sounds ridiculous.
It kind of. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes the guy who you're making wait feel a little scammed. Like it's not like a genuine thing, that like a genuine standard that you actually have. I don't know, it's like you read some bullshit in the magazine, oh, you should make guys wait, oh, let me try it, and then like, I don't know, it's just kind of,
there's a lot of stuff out there that's saying you should make guys wait. That's
true.
It's
easy for women to be messing around with non-quality guys for so long that when they do get a quality guy, it's like you say, they try to find any which way to hold on, and they don't actually have rational or real reasons, real ways to actually do that. They just make up ways in their head.
I slept with my boyfriend the first night, and he's a quality man.
So
same
type.
Yeah. Well, would you believe that girl that like that you were just mentioning, if she said that like she screwed that guy, but like she wanted you to wait because like she didn't want you to think like lesser of her, like she really like wanted to take it slow with you?
We should have that conversation. I can explain to her that's nonsense. Like, let's get that.
I'm actually curious.
Well, my personal view is, and look, there are certainly men out there who, if they will judge a woman if that woman sleeps with them too quickly. My personal view is, while that could potentially be an indicator of, for example, promiscuity, I don't think it's necessarily, like if a woman sleeps with you quickly, it doesn't necessarily mean that she's slept with a bunch of men or she's promiscuous. So
I have a question
me
for you
personally,
guys then.
me personally, all of my long-term relationships, that many of them have been really wonderful relationships with great girls, almost all of them within the first 3 dates.
Okay. Yeah, I was
one
gonna
girl
ask
on the
that.
second date, one girl on the first date. Some guys are like, okay, if she gives it up too quick, then she's for the streets. That's not my
Yeah, see, I guess I
view.
just- I
That's
just- I
not my
just
view,
get
but some guys do have that view.
I get confused as a woman sometimes, like really like grappling with this, because it's like you don't want to give it up too quickly because you don't want the guy to think that you're a hoe. But then if you really like the guy, like it's kind of like a what do I do? Like how is he gonna view me sort of thing?
Yeah, well,
which is what you were saying is like you're not being genuine to your standard.
Sure.
Like you're kind of like fixing
Yeah.
it based off of like the dude.
And at least for me personally, like if I sleep with a girl, I have, and maybe I'm an outlier in this, I have no interest in sleeping with a girl once. To me, it's just a waste of time. Like if I sleep with a girl, I want there to be a continuity. Maybe we only hang out 3 or 4 times, but like I do genuinely want to at least try to pursue something. I'm not interested in one night stand. It's not worth my time. I view it as a waste of time. And also just, even if your motivation was purely sexual, or excuse me, even if your motivation was purely just to get sex, I actually think that first off, having the first time you have sex with someone, really, I personally don't think it's going to be the best.
Yeah.
I think sex is
Right.
better at like the more
time
you,
goes up.
The more you
the
do
more
it,
times you've
yeah.
had sex with them. So one, just on a purely physical level, you know what they like, they know what you like. You build a comfort. So I think that makes the sex better. But me personally, yeah, I'm not interested in one night stands. I do prefer, if I sleep with a girl, I'd want to continue sleeping with her. And
So would you disavow like the fresh and fit idea of like recreational use versus like relationship use for a woman? You know what I mean?
Well, there's signs that you would see that would tell you this girl has red flags.
But
or not,
one
or
of
have
those
red flags.
signs would be sleeping with somebody on the first date.
That's,
No.
They just
I
said
don't-
that it's
I
not
don't-
considered.
Did they say that? I don't know.
No.
I've
not
never
sure.
said that.
I'm not sure.
themselves.
I don't want to speak on behalf of them because I haven't been keeping tabs specifically on what their talking points are. So what was the?
Basically, the idea is that it's a red flag if she sleeps with you on the first date. I mean, that's some guys' opinions.
So
Well, I
how
was
would you
just
go
asking.
about?
I don't.
That's a good way to say too. Like, if you be trying to be a value woman, if you want to look out for what men are looking for.
Right.
I just know too many of my
confused.
friends that are
Right.
married couples, and they slept together on the first date. Like I just know too
Yeah.
many of them. There's just so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
attraction,
The
and
reason-
they just did it. So like I don't know what like the right answer is there. But I think the thing that we're saying is. By the way, if you can find someone to believe in whatever your standard is, then you can get away with anything you want, right? But in this case, if you consistently sleep with guys on the first date and then you make this last guy wait, the thing is, it's dudes know everything now. I'm sorry, ladies. Like there's this digital
True.
footprint that you have. You think you're gonna get away with it? Just do. It's not that you can't keep a secret. It's that dudes run their fucking mouth about how many girls they've fucked, and they're gonna tell.
It just
yo,
depends if you're honest or not. Like I'm personally honest. Like if someone was to ask me, like, what's up? Like, hey, what is your sexual history? I'd be like, it's this. You know, and then we all decide. We can decide together that. So it's like that would only happen, the like sneaking around or finding out, if the person's not honest, and then it just goes back to that person's character and who they are.
I don't
Because-
understand. You guys are talking when you meet someone, and you're saying, okay, how many people in your past have you slept with on the first
Y'all
date?
still have that
How long-
conversation
Yeah,
with
like I don't I would
Wait,
never
what?
talk to someone like that. I don't think.
No, but someone might
people
find that out
should.
about you.
Yeah, but
You
maybe
guys-
one guy. You maybe find out one guy that you know, like a mutual friend, that she slept with me on the first date, but you
Man,
don't know
I just see, because the advent of social media, I found like I without even trying, I know what a bunch of girls have done, because dudes just run their fucking mouth.
Yeah, the world
You
is
guys don't
really
run your mouth.
small,
Women, dudes run their mouth, man. They run their mouth so much if they know who
Yeah,
it is.
just one last thing on this point, and then we do need to get to a couple of chats here. So if she's had sex with men more easily in the past, and you harder now, so she makes you wait, there's this, and I kind of already touched on this, there's a natural gut reaction that the current guy or you is less sexually desirable to her than her previous partners. So if she had sex with them faster, she must, this may not be the case, but that's what a guy might think, that she's just not that attracted to you.
Yeah.
And she sees you as like provider, like safety net. And like, that's not how a guy wants to feel. So
Men want to be desired.
By the way, we use
we
in
want-
my coaching program, we use the opposite. Like Brandon Carter, I did an interview with him, and he was like, he said he got stood up by a girl one time, and he asked himself, he goes, would she have stood Drake up? She wouldn't have stood Drake up. And then that made him go to the gym more.
Oh, yeah.
That made him make more money. Now the dude is just wearing like, $400,000 worth of watches on with his, his G-Wagon and his like, these dudes
Don't
super,
get stood up
super
no
ripped.
more.
He doesn't get stood up no more. Exactly. So in his mind, he was like, would she have stood Drake up? That's what she said. He would say that in his head when he'd go to the gym. And so because of that, that motivated him. And now, the dude is like, he's a huge baller. And because of that. So I think you guys understand that jealousy motivation, it's a sexual motivation that Napoleon Hill talks about at the end of Think and Grow Rich. That thing, or in evolutionary psychology, and access to higher sexual selection and more resources, and higher sexual status, those things are what motivate a man to become a billionaire. That's what motivates a man to work really hard. That's essentially what happens. These great men, you think about Steve Jobs, the dude was running through supermodels. Think about Elon Musk. How many different women does he have kids with? You think about these things, like even Albert Einstein leaves his wife to go start sleeping with his cousin. Like all this stuff happens, and you just don't realize these men are so motivated by this. About would she? It goes back to what Brandon said, and I loved it. It was just like, dude, would she have stood Drake up? And the answer is no. Then I need to be better.